Shoot. How's it going, man? Cool.
Good. How you doing?
Good, good.
Good stuff.
Did did it ask for a passcode when you tried to get into the link?
Yeah, it did. I was trying to figure out how to ask you about that. I mean, I saw your thing, your
Yeah.
message, so I was good. How do I get into that chat? Where is that chat though? Or
So
did you?
the chat is in school. It's just right up top right corner. Well, it depends if you're looking at the app or not, I suppose. But the internet one or the website version, it's just top right corner right next to notifications.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah, I
the
see it.
app is gonna be lower right next to the notifications too.
Okay, perfect.
But I think that's why a lot of people I was like, why is anyone joining? Like, oh, that kind of makes sense. I may have accidentally put it on for the passcode. Man, where is this? Hmm. Okay, so I think today may be a little bit slim pickings in numbers. Gotta get it fixed today, so tomorrow will be good. Bummer. Yeah, because there's like no one's on. I was like, what the heck's going on? This is like, I know it's supposed to be light, but not this light. But okay. All right, we're good now. Okay, cool. So, um, who here did you guys go through any of the start here? Oh, I don't know if I unlock all the courses for you guys. Nate, I hope I did.
You haven't yet, I don't think.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't. Okay, that makes sense then. We'll get that unlocked for you. Um, but you've
Or
seen
make me
what was that?
co-host. Sorry.
No, what was that, Nate?
Did you want to make me co-host as well?
Oh, yes, yeah, thank
Right,
you.
yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Co-host, and then Aubrey, co-host. Perfect. Okay, so I really want to talk about Sacred Time, but before we get into that, just shout out to Saul, and I think he's working his way down right now. But yeah, we're closing on the deal tomorrow. Wholesale fee of 104,000 bucks, and Anna and I have been chasing down this seller for like weeks. On we got like a verbal confirmation forever ago, but it's always been like, well, it's been kind of wishy washy, and so we sent him and he's older, so like signing things even on DocuSign or dot loop is very challenging. Um, so I think he's been kind of using that as a little bit of an excuse though. So, but we're actually going to meet him at the property today and give him the physical copy and have him sign it. So that'll be under contract, which will also I really think it's going to be potentially even not to jinx it, knock on wood, but another six-figure wholesale property potentially because it's a 3 acre property in West Valley and a property was sold to an investor that was like 2 acres for 700,000. We have it for like 650. And it's sold for like 750. So I think it's gonna be a really good one. So I'm excited for it. Um, yeah, stuff's moving, phenomenal. Well, how does this stuff happen when you haven't done a bunch of deals or none at all? I think the big factor, the people that I've seen that are successful in the games and just in general, and they may not call it sacred time, but they're dedicating specific blocks of time to doing certain activities, money making activities. And that is like probably the biggest factor that's going to be in all of our successes is dedicating specific time to doing the money making activities. That is massive. Anyone that I've talked to, a book I would recommend where I got a lot of this stuff from was Atomic Habits. So Atomic Habits by I forget who the author is. By James Clear. So Atomic Habits by James Clear. This dude's amazing. Here, I'll drop a link in the in the chat for the Amazon. I don't get affiliate. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there if you guys want to buy the book. Or I listened to it on Audible. It's a short listen too. It's not that bad. Okay, that seems a massively huge link. Got it. Okay, phenomenal. So with like when we say sacred time, what's your guys' definition of sacred? If you have something that's sacred, whether it's religious or not, that's irrelevant. But something can be sacred to you whether you're religious or not. What is anyone willing to come out and even share maybe a little bit? Like what is sacred to them and what does that mean? Or what does that even mean just in general, sacred?
Is something that's important to you.
Okay.
Definition.
Yeah, something that's important to you. It's almost like even on the higher level of importance, right? So I mean, if um, as far as sacredness, potentially could be something that you've received that you only have that one copy of. Like it's, or like maybe it's a picture. I used the example before, like a picture of your grandparents or something like that. That this is the only copy that's the only one that exists, and and that's the only reminder you have of them. And so if for that for you that picture could be sacred, or it could be your old journal, it could be a number of things on religious aspect for for fellow people, the members of the church, LDS, like the temple, that's very very sacred. The church is sacred, and so like if we're seeing someone about to like step on our on that sacred picture or whatever it is, we're going to do it when we can to stop it. We're not going to allow people to step on our sacred, our things that we hold dear and sacred to our hearts. Is that fair to say? Is that kind of, does that make sense? So when I'm saying sacred time is dedicating a specific amount of time, whether that's every single day or maybe a big block on your days off or something like that. Some sort of specific sacred time, block of time to doing money making activities. Now, for sacred time, you want to set it for it, you need to have money making activities as the goal. So getting a list together is not money making activity. Putting a list together, cleaning your desk is that stuff is those are good things. Don't get me wrong, but they're not the things. They're not things that make you money. They can, like getting the list or watching a video, whatever, can lead you to that, but it's not money making activity. So if we have to pull up a list and for the newer people, like we'll go over how to get a list to call all that stuff. That's easy enough. But for the sacred time, it's you need a plan ahead of time of like, what can I do to prepare myself so at if my sacred time is 6 p.m. every single day, I'm going to be doing the money making activity right from the get go. And if we set our sacred time, regardless, like we set our sacred time in our calendars, we tell our spouses, and even if it's like as small as like 15 minutes a day. I mean, I obviously want more time than that, but just saying, even if it was as small as that, that's gonna be a massive push to your success and consistency than anything else would. So keep that in mind. That the sacred time is a specific block of time where you're doing money making activities. And here's the thing: when we're talking about this, we have to. One thing I want everyone to recognize, and most of you probably already do, but we are different people at different times. You ever notice like when we're hungry, they always say that you need to eat something because you're grumpy, right? We respond to our outside we respond to our outside uh, whatever's happening to us in a different way. For if I'm hungry, I'm a different Jared. Like when I'm listening to a motivational speaker and I'm all jazzed up, I went to a conference and I'm ready to go, like, and then like that jazzed up, ready to go Jared is different than the Jared that's tired, sleepy, that's just grumpy, hungry. We act completely different, but we're the same person. So recognizing that we have different not personalities, but pretty much we act different depending on how we're feeling, how we're interpreting the outside surroundings, our bodies, how we're feeling good or not. So we definitely react differently to depending on where our mood is at, and where a number of reasonings why we would act differently, right? So recognizing that's gonna be huge, because when everyone in New Year's, they set their New Year's resolution, right? Typical. And everyone knows that they want to accomplish it. They're ready to go. They're excited. I'm gonna go to the gym every single day. That's my New Year's resolution. And when you're sitting there, like, yeah, I can do it. I have to get up at 5 in the morning, but yeah, it's fine. And they're jazzed up, ready to go. But when 5 o'clock in the morning and that alarm's going off, you're like, oh, why did I set my alarm for 5 in the morning? That's so dumb. When hours earlier I was all jazzed up, ready to go. So recognizing, understanding, and you know yourselves better than anyone else in the entire world. You know yourself better than your wife knows you, or your husband knows you, and your mom knows you. You know yourself better than anyone else because you're with you 24/7. And so we know, if we really think about it and take time and ask ourselves, what are the things that I'm going to do to stop myself from hitting that goal? Because right now maybe you're jazzed up, ready to go. Like, yeah, I want to get into some deals. I want to do all of those things. I want to do my sacred time. I'm gonna block off this block of time. Nothing's gonna get in my way. But then we have to ask ourselves, okay, great. So I'm ready. I'm ready to do the sacred time. But myself at 5:50, after I got done a full day of work, am I ready? Am I gonna feel the same way? Maybe, maybe not. So you gotta ask yourself, what am I gonna do, or what excuses am I gonna put into place where I'm not gonna do the sacred time. Now, the typical response, like, you sit down ready to do sacred time, and then you look around, your desk is dirty. Oh, I got to clean this, because it's easier to clean a desk than make a scary phone call. Oh, I got to clean this. This room is messy. I can't even think because this room is just a mess. I need to get my notes. I need to grab my notes. Or I'm gonna, I need to pull. Oh, I didn't pull a list. I'm gonna pull this now. And but I'm gonna analyze every single one of these deals, because when I call them, I want to know exactly what I'm gonna say, or what I'm gonna talk about if they ask any questions or anything like that. All. And so you end up doing busy work, or getting ready to get ready, and the hour passes by and you didn't do any MMAs, no money making activities. So ask yourself, what would I do to kind of to stop myself from actually making those phone calls, if that's what you're doing, right? Maybe it's like sending out text messages, or doing letters, number of things, doing a bunch of social media stuff, whatever it is. So what am I gonna? So if I know me, and I know that I'm gonna sit down, I'm probably gonna, like, oh, I gotta get my notes together, or I gotta get my script ready. So maybe before the sacred time, I print off the script so it's ready to go. Maybe I set a time beforehand to pull the list. So maybe my sacred time doesn't necessarily start until 6:30, but at 6, I'm pulling the list together. I'm doing all the stuff I need to do to get ready for 6 o'clock. That's why I'm doing the money making activities. So whatever that may be, whatever your excuses may be, that's we need to figure out what that's going to be. So and I said this in the video, your environment too. So we are creatures of habit. So whenever I would get home, remember when I was working at Walmart, and I get home, I would immediately jump into routine. My wife would have the dinner ready, right, waiting for me. The kids were around, so they wanted to, spend some time with them, play around and eat. And then, then all the blood goes to my stomach, and I'm just like exhausted, and I just want to sit down for a minute. Then so we all do our typical things very consistently. And so if we're trying to add a new habit into it, sometimes it's hard to go into your house and then change what you're normally going to do. At one point in time, I would sometimes park in the garage and not get out, and I would pull up I had a little small little tablet at the time, and I would just start working on real estate stuff, whether I was listening to a class or not, or making phone calls, because I knew once I got home that I would start into that habit pattern, and it would be hard for me to not do it. So I knew myself. I knew that I would get into that pattern. and that I would just play with the kids. And there's nothing wrong. Those are good things, right? Eating, play with the kids. That's nothing wrong there. And getting a little time for yourself, nothing wrong with that either. But knowing when you have bigger goals, it's like if I start that, it's gonna be really hard for me to stop. When I played video games, like I knew if I started to play a video game, I'm done. Like that, I'm not doing anything else. Like even if I want to play just for a little bit, nope, I knew it. I just know me. Like I'm gonna keep on doing this until I'm forced to stop. So it's recognizing where your weaknesses, the things that you will do to stop yourself from actually doing the MMA. That's the important part. Actually sitting down, figuring that out. And so what are some things that stop you guys? What do you guys do when you want to do something and for whatever reason, maybe whether that's cleaning, whether that's whatever the good thing you're doing, but not the thing you're supposed to be doing. What can someone give me some examples? I want to hear some. Let's make it a little more interactive. Nothing, huh?
Maybe like, oh,
Sorry, Boston. I know you said beside cleaning, but literally that is like my biggest downfall. I always get ready to get ready, and I feel like my atmosphere has to be clear and clean so my head can be clear and clean. And
Right.
that's just not realistic.
Right. Especially when you got little kids around, right?
Yeah.
What was yours, Boston? You're about to say something too.
I'm the worst with like, I'll sit down and I'll about to start do something, and then I'll get on my phone, and the next thing I know, I'm scrolling for like 20
Oh yeah.
minutes. And I'm like, all right, 5 more minutes. And then it's just an hour. And then it just destroys my hour, my 2 hours,
Yeah. I think we have all been there, that's for sure.
It's,
I mean,
yeah.
the doom scrolling. You start just for a second, and then it just keeps on going. Or you'll maybe you're creating content, or you're creating a post about real estate, and then but then you start, oh, what's this? Whatever thumbnail gets you distracted, and then you start scrolling. So you start like you open the app as a good intention, like I'm gonna make a post about real estate or whatever, and then you end up doom scrolling. So I think those are like super common stuff, right? Well, I'm just gonna do this for just a minute. Um, One thing that we can do if we're, for example, just on social media apps, in at least Android, I'm sure iPhone you can probably do something similar to this, but you can create folders in your phone and then put the apps into the folders. But you can also make a folder within a folder and a folder within a folder and a folder within a folder. I'm not sure how deep I've gotten, like four or five deep, but you can make multiple folders in your phone and then put the social media app there, like whatever it is, Instagram, Facebook, or all of them, or make them different apps. Actually, that'd be even better. Make a different folder for each one. And so it's just creating small barriers for instead of like opening up and it's super easy to click on the social media app, for example. I'm going to click on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. But if I have to open my phone and then I gotta open this folder and then I gotta click another folder, click another folder, click another folder, then yeah, you're putting more as many barriers to get to that distraction as possible, and so you're less likely to do it. It's the same thing. Like on the other note, anything that we want to do, we need to make it as easy as possible. So I talked about this, the key of what discipline is, what the true definition of discipline. I can't remember the guy that I heard this from. I absolutely love this. He says that discipline is being a servant of your future self, or loving your future self. So if let's just pretend that the future Jared is a different, like a completely different person, because he really is just a different person. If I love him enough, if there's someone I love with all my heart, and I consider myself, I want to serve him, I want to help him be successful. And I know he's going to get up. I know he has to go to the gym tomorrow. So what can I do to help Jared out? Well, okay, I'm going to get his shoes out, his clothes out, so it's all ready to go. So the shoes are right next to the bed, the clothes are right there, or even gonna put it out so you can put it on. He's gonna sleep in the gym clothes. So all he has to do is roll out of bed and literally just put his feet in down, and there's the shoes. And like before I go to sleep, I'm gonna put my alarm on the other side of the room, so that Jared has to get up to turn off the alarm. And usually when you're up, you energize. Maybe I'll put a glass of water next to the phone or whatever the alarm system you're using, so I can drink that right away. Maybe it has a pre-workout already. I can do things to set myself up for success, and that way I'm making it easy to do what I want to accomplish. I'm making it easy to do the quote unquote hard thing. While I'm making while for example using the social media apps where I'm putting into folder, I'm making it harder or not as easy. I'm creating barriers to doing the things that's going to distract me. So if we look at it like as if we love ourselves, and that I am the servant of the future Jared. So I that'd be cool if the future Jared lived in a big mansion. That'd be awesome. I think he would really like that. And if he had go on vacations 20 times a year, all right, cool. What can I do now to help him get that? All right, well, I need to make some money first of all. So I need to, and how am I gonna do this? So that just and that's like kind of like big long term, right? But even as simple as like, what can I do for the future, the 5 minute version of me? What can I do to help him out? The 5 minute in the head of me version. What can I do to help him out? And if we ask ourselves those things, and what am I gonna do to stop myself from actually making those phone calls or doing whatever, right? So if we're in the doom scroll, then we need to maybe delete the apps too as well. So delete the apps, then you can always reinstall them. It takes a minute, right? But it does create a barrier of ease, or puts a barrier of difficulty to do those things that's going to distract us. So not even saying that you're cold turkey, no social media whatsoever. Like no, I don't know. I don't think that's very necessary. In fact, you can find a lot of deals through social media. So I wouldn't think it's necessary. But maybe it's like if I am beginning to do, if I'm going to use it for business, I'm going to install it in the morning when I'm going to make the post, then uninstall it, and then it's as simple as that, right? So you can do things like that where you're making it more difficult for yourself to get into do the things that's holding you back. So when we have sacred time, we want to make sure everything's ready to go for the sacred time, and it's going to be consistent. So whatever that may be, Sandra last on the first games, what she did is she actually because and I think I may mention this in the video. I don't know if she got that from the video or not, but the idea at least. But she would actually she get home from work, but she scheduled time in the library because they have like those little meeting rooms. Most libraries do, and you can just schedule it. It doesn't cost anything. You just schedule it ahead of time, and then that you have that room for the next hour. It has like a small desk, and you set up your laptop, plug it in. They usually have Wi-Fi, and do your thing. Like make the phone calls there, because if it's especially depending on the library, right? But you're creating a space where you're actually going to do the thing, and so you're especially when you're like barely starting into a lot of these activities, like creating a separate space, and that might be like, what I mean, for a long time before my son moved out to for college, my office was the corner of my bedroom. That was where I had my desk and had everything. I'd worked there, and now his room turned into my office. It's like it's easier for me to, when I come in my office, I'm just doing the work, because when I'm in my room, what's my normal habit engine telling me to do? Oh well, this is the sleeping room. This is where I'm gonna lay down and relax. This is, maybe before I go to bed, I doom scroll. So like my first reaction is kind of do those things, right? So if you have the space for it, like create your own little space, and even if it is a corner of the room, that's fine, right? But only doing the money making activities in that space. So you're creating those pathways. Like I'm sitting here, this is work time. Another thing you can do is have specific type of music playing, or even scents, where you're creating anchors to that motion of work, of flow state. So for a while, I had a scented candle that I always light when I would sit down and work, And so just smelling it kind of put me into the work zone after a while. It's not instant because you got to kind of put yourself there after smelling it for so long, like and you're when you smell it, you're working. It really helps put you into the gear of work because it's just the scent, like your body's telling yourself, oh, I recognize this smell. This is when I'm going to do this. There was another guy that he had like a scent thing of like cinnamon or something like that. So whenever he had to do, whether it was like a sales call or something like that, he would just smell the cinnamon scent, and like he like put himself into that state of like, yeah, this is a sales call. I'm ready. I have energy. I have the answers. I'm ready to do this. And so that's what he did to kind of change himself into that state. I'm not necessarily saying you have to do those type of things, but these are just ideas to get yourself into that state of workflow and avoiding and making it as hard as you possibly can for the things that you're going to distract yourself with. Again, cleaning the desk or getting the notes, all that stuff, just figure it out. So once we get the time set specifically, whether that's daily, and it doesn't necessarily have to be daily, depending on your schedule. Ideally, I mean, ideally, it's like an hour and a half would be a good set of time. If you're working, if this isn't your full-time gig, and you have other stuff, you can set aside an hour and a half. I would be shocked if you're not into a deal in the next 60 days. If you're consistently doing that, like I'd be shocked if you're not in a deal in the first 30 days, to be perfectly honest. But even if it is as small as like 15 minutes a day, or maybe it's like, okay, I can't, like my day is just nonstop from start to finish. Like I really don't have time to do it, or maybe the time I do have is like after calling hours. It's after 8 p.m. or before 9 a.m. So I can't make those phone calls or whatever. Okay, but can you do other stuff? Can you set up mailers? Can you put out Bennett signs? There's a lot of things that you can do if that's the case, right? But maybe it's like, cool. I on Saturday, I have time on Saturday. Okay, cool. Block like 4 hours away or 2 hours or whatever it is. You can block that time then and just make it a sacred time. So once we decide on when we're going to do it, put it in our calendars, and we write down what we're going to do to distract ourselves and do what we can to make steps to avoid those things. Like for me, like mine was social media. I could do the same thing as Boston, just doom scrolling forever. So I had to put it into those folders and or start deleting them and so on. So I wouldn't go into my doom scroll. That was my thing. Cleaning the desk was an excuse, or getting like the list or whatever. That was also things that I would do. So I would make sure that before my sacred time happens, I would get this done. Another thing is that we have people that love us and want our attention, and they're used to getting our attention or time when they want, typically, right? So you have to have a discussion and negotiate with the people that potentially will step on your sacred time. So now that may be like, so with Aubrey, she's stay-at-home mom, but she has 2 little kids, and they don't care if that you're sacred time. They don't care about your real estate goals. They don't care about that. They want to play because mom's awesome, right? So what can we do in that scenario, right? Who can you ask yourself? So who can watch the kiddos for an hour and a half, or for an hour here, or whatever it is? And maybe you negotiate with your spouse, or maybe like someone else that might be able to come and just watch the kids for a minute. Or it's like, if your spouse isn't into like doing the real estate thing or whatever, it's like, okay, cool, watch it. If you watch the kids from 5 to 6:30, I'm going to be doing the real estate stuff. I just can't. I need them to be, outside of the door. I need to be focused on this. If you watch the kids or give me this time, then I will give you, or you can have the girls' night out, or whatever the thing is, right? Or maybe they just want to do it because it would help you, right? Who knows? But you can negotiate with your partners, with your people, so they understand. And maybe it's your mom that calls you every single day at 12, but that's the time of sacred time. So it's like, okay, listen, mom, I can't do this because, or can you call me at 1:30 because I'm doing this thing. And she may or may not be cool with that, whatever, and they may still call you at 12. But what you do in response to that will indicate what they're going to do. People will do what you train them to do. So if you say, hey, my boundary for the next 60 days at least, from 12 to 1:30, I'm off limits. Don't give me a call. And they call you at 12:30. If you answer and have a conversation with them, they know that you are allowing them to step on your sacred time. You are saying it's okay for them to stay because it's not sacred to you. But if you don't answer them and maybe call them, send them a text message after the fact, like, hey, sorry, I was doing my real estate thing. Remember, I don't answer my call from 12 to 1. After a couple of times of that, they're going to stop calling you from 12 to 1. But you have to hold your guns to that activity and to not allow other people to step on your sacred time. With kids, another thing is like kids are a challenge. When I first started this, and my youngest was 8, so they were at the time. Well, no, I had a baby. But anyways, but I remember this is like 8 years ago, so I'm trying to remember everything. But I had and I got this from Melee actually, this idea. So I would I would have a hat on, and that was Dad's work hat. It was just this a regular hat, wasn't nothing special. But and it was true for my wife too. It was like, okay, listen, when they would come and they would try to talk to me or whatever, like not right now. Remember, Dad has his work hat on, and eventually, like the toddlers and babies that they're like they're never gonna get it until like older, but once they're like 4 and up, even at 3, like, oh yeah, Dad, and you're constantly reminding, like, that's even my spouse. She'll just like, hey, I got a quick question for you, and you point to not being a dick about it, but you can have those type of cues so anyone can kind of see and like, oh yeah, you're off limits right now. So, but if you allow them to come in, ask that quick question, or then it's going to continue to happen, and that's going to stop because, like, if you're in the zone and you start making phone calls, and you're just or whatever it is, and you start getting that flow state, someone comes in and has a conversation with you, it's going to take at least 20 minutes to get back into it. Whenever I tell my 2, I'm working, he says not working. Yep, that sounds about right. Oh, do you have any kids, Boston? Yeah, no, not yet. No, yeah, you're too young. But
Too young. Just kidding. No, I'm only I don't even have a girlfriend, so we're good.
okay, all right, yeah. Well, then you don't have to worry
Single
about that.
life.
It's great.
I'm just hanging out. You know how it is.
No, and yeah, this is the time to really take some, and that's probably why one of the reasons why you're on here. But like your age, your time, like this is the perfect time to really just hit it hard. Like this is building empire time, which is awesome. That's cool. I wish I would have had this mindset when I was your age. Now I'm 40 plus, and it's a whole nother world with kids and family. But anyways, school moment. But back to the point, like it's going to take time to get everyone on board, and that's what people get really frustrated with because they set sacred time, but they're so used to allowing other people to step on their time that it's really hard to get into it, to be successful at what you're doing because you're not being consistent at it. So if we really make it sacred, and every time, and I had conversations with the gamers in the past too, is like, so when people aren't landing deals, they're not getting appointments. One of my first questions are you doing your sacred time? Are you actually sitting down and doing MMAs? Well, I try. Okay, that's okay. I get it. But so what you're telling me is that sacred time is not sacred to you. And if it's not, then it's not. But it's okay. But that's the reality of it. Like you're not treating it as if it's sacred. The people that are consistently taking action, that time is sacred to them. And that's why they're landing deals. That's why they're having success because it is sacred. They're not allowing spouses, work, or other things that jump into it themselves. They're not allowing anyone to mess with that sacred time because it is sacred to them. And that's why it's even like if you really just did, like if you're jam-packed on schedule and you just had 15 minutes a day and you put it for 15 minutes, usually you're going to work more than 15 minutes, because when you get to the flow state, you're just like, you're jiving. But just even if you just did the 15 minutes of MMAs, you're going to be miles ahead of everyone else. That's just like, yeah, I'm going to work on it when I can. It's going to be my side hustle. And it's going to be forever their side hustle because they're not consistent on taking action on money making activities. They're watching videos. They're, and they're doing busy work, getting ready to get ready. And that's what I find. And I'm saying this because I like guilty in so many different ways. So once we create and actually make the sacred time sacred, not allowing other people to step on it, and you're actually doing the activities that are going to make you money in the long run, there's no reason for you to be for you not to be successful. So whatever that may be, like I'm going to go and just book the next month every day at this time at the library. Sweet. That is a huge step. And actually go and do the thing. Have conversations with the people that will step on your sacred time. And if you've got to have a conversation with your buddy or someone that maybe keeps calling you, whatever, just like let them know, like, I'm going to call you in an hour. I got to tell you about something I'm doing during this time. And then, or even not even that, just don't answer, then call them in an hour and then tell them about what you got going on. So my question to everyone here, when would be the sacred time that you guys are going to put in for at least for the next 60 days? I want you to think about it. Who's willing to come off mute and say, okay, this is the time, and there's no judgment on how much that time is. You know, if you're just doing 15 minutes a day, okay, cool, do that. If you're doing 2 hours a day, even better. You know, so afternoon, I love it. Is that you, Sal? An iPhone 3? What was that?
It's me.
It's you. Okay. So when in the afternoon?
Around 5.
Around 5? Okay. So, and this is where it gets, this is where the rubber meets the road, per se. The more Pacific you are, if it's sacred, like it needs to be the Pacific time, not even around. Like it needs to be at 5 p.m. Because if we leave it ambiguous and vague, then what's going to happen? We're most likely not going to take as much action as we could have. Maybe we'll jump on there, but maybe because because life or whatever. In the afternoon, yeah, I jumped in at 4, but I was planning to jump on but never did, or like something else. My mom wanted help with this, and this. And so yeah, that's definitely like it's you're not saying you won't, because you obviously you have been making calls. That's how you got the deal we're closing on tomorrow, right? So I mean, but being consistent at those calls, that's like the key, right? So what time exactly are you going to put it for your sacred time? Is it going to be 5, or do you need needs to be like 5:15, or what's your time though?
So I chose 5 because I was making calls around the morning, but I started to think them, well, they wouldn't answer, and I started to see that maybe it was because they were at work, and so most people get off at 4, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I chose 5.
Okay, and that's fine. On that note, like I don't think it, as far as like and this is just more for cold calling information, but I think what you're changing to 5, that no problem. That's great. Whatever makes sense for you, right? When choosing a time, if you have more flexibility in your day to make those phone calls, uh, there's not really. I don't think there's really a best time for the seller to make those phone calls, because when I'm calling in the afternoon and they're at work, okay, if they're working, they're probably not as big of a challenge as I need them to be for them to sell me at the price I need, right? I don't want to talk to the guy that's working 2 jobs and they're trying to get, they're getting back on their feet or whatever. I want to talk to the person that's watching the soap operas, that's not working, that's got stuck for whatever reason. Maybe they have health challenges or whatever the thing is. I want to talk to that person because that person needs my help. Like they're losing their house, like it's gonna be gone. They're not gonna be able to fix it. So even though like I would maybe, because I think you're right, you do talk to less people like in the afternoon, but I would still talk to those. I would talk to people, more likely talk to people that I want to talk to. And with that being said, even calling at 5 or after, you'll talk to more people, but that's great too, because people work still need help, right? So there's not necessarily a bad or wrong time. There's good reasoning for the morning or for afternoon or for evening. What I think is the deciding factor, if you have the flexibility, is we all know ourselves. Like I said before, when are we the most energetic? During the day. You probably could think. You probably remember like when you get kind of sleepy, like 3 or 4. That's like kind of that's why I'm like, if I can, like I never do, but if there's nap opportunity, like I'm taking it. It's always at that time. Like if I can take a nap, then like, oh heaven, that'd be amazing. Never do, but that would be the time I'd want to do it, right? Because that's my we have our rhythms. We're high energy and then low energy, and guess what? It's very consistent day by day. Now, if we're feeling sick or we didn't sleep very well the last night or the night before, yeah, that'll affect everything. But we have our times when we're most energetic and most productive, and times when we're not. Like, if you want me to do something at 4 o'clock, yeah, I'll do it. But it's gonna. I mean, I'm not. It's not my A game. You know, that's my C or D game. I shouldn't say that. That's my C game. Okay. So I think whatever, like actually think, or if you're not even sure, just pay attention throughout the day as you go forward from here on out. Pay attention to the day. Like, how do I feel in the morning after 9 in the morning? Like, how am I feeling right now? Or when you feel like a change in your mood, like, oh yeah, you know that's true. I always have better energy right at 11 o'clock, right? Or right after lunch. I'm feeling like I'm ready to go. Right before lunch starts, like that's when I feel like I have the most energy. So I find I have more success calling when I call from the times from 11 to 1, but that's not necessarily because that's the best time to call. That's when I'm the most energy peak version of Jared out there. So even though I'm not talking to as many people as like 5 p.m., but when people I'm talking to, I'm doing like they're seeing the best version of Jared. They're seeing I'm doing, hitting the script the best, like, and I'm feeling more energetic. I'm ready to hit this thing hard, and I don't rejection doesn't hit me as hard as much during those times, so I can keep on going. So even though that's not necessarily an ask, okay, yeah, and that's great. And Saul says he also chose 5 because he gets busy in the morning, which is totally fine. And so I'm not to knock the 5 o'clock. What I think that's perfect. It's great. I'm just saying, like, as far as like time frame goes, if you're looking into cold calling, this should be like a cold calling conversation, but squirrel moment. Yeah, so 5 p.m. I love it. I love it. That's a great time, and I think you will be talking to more people, and so perfect. What would be how long is your sacred time going to be minimum? Like you can go over, of course, but like what's like from 5 to what are you doing? 5 to 6, 5:30, 5 to 7. What's your time, Sal?
I was thinking 6:30 or 7.
Okay, 6:30 to 7. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. What do you have in place to make sure that you are going to be, or do you have a place where you do when you make your calls? Is it like in your room? Do you have an office? Where's your location where you normally make your calls
And
or
my
do
room.
your MMAs?
Room.
Your room. Okay. Um, so do you have a specific spot in your room to make those calls or to start doing MMAs? Your sacred time.
Yes, I have a chair and then a desk.
Perfect. Is there anything that impedes that at 5 o'clock? Is there anything that's there that you can easily get yourself distracted with or find something else to do that might need to be done? And those things could be the good things to do, but we're talking about good, better, and best. Sometimes the best thing for us to do, we sacrifice that to do something good instead of doing the best thing.
Yes, I sometimes get like bored, so I tend to walk away and then come back, or sometimes
Yeah.
like when I come back, it's been an hour. So
Right. So what do you think you can do to help yourself so you're focused on? And first, if you coming back, and maybe that's what you need. Maybe you need to walk away for a minute, and you can kind of put that into your routine. Like you have a timer. Like I have ADHD pretty hard, and so like sometimes I can work hard, and then I'll put a timer like a 15-20 minute timer, and I just work, and then it beeps, and I stop for 5 minutes, then I can go back into it. So it kind of depends on your personality. So maybe you need to walk away, but like, what would you do? What could you do or do you think that impedes you from doing it? Like, are you walking away during sacred time, or is it just like, or do you always come back so it's not really a problem?
no,
Or
I always come back. It's just the time frame that I need to set like an alarm to remind me.
Okay, which is great. If you're always coming back, then and that's what you need to do to keep yourself going. That's amazing. Great.
Yeah.
So that's not a problem. But maybe you can start setting some timers. And what can you have like preset timers set into your phone or however you're doing it?
Yeah.
So it's easier at the time.
Mhm. I wasn't setting timers, so I will start doing that.
Yeah. And do what you can like now, like maybe you have a because most alarm phones timer apps you can set it specific, like you can have a 5 minute timer, so you just got to push the 5 minute timer thing and it sets it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So whatever that timer is, you can pre-program your timer app to have them ready to go. So again, it's just limiting barriers for you to do those things.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Making things as easy as possible for you to be successful, right? So from five to six, we said, or 6:30?
6:30.
6:30. Okay, perfect. Um, and you want to put who would be the person that's gonna like step on your time, you think? That would call you or that would come in your room and try to talk to you or whatever. What can you do to or is there anyone like that that would step on your sacred time?
No, I think they understand. They respect the time that I choose. I
And
just tell them before I make those calls, and so they don't bother much.
there you go. That's it. So you have the conversation with them beforehand, like I'm making this calls and they respect it, right? That's
Hmm.
awesome.
Yeah, but you have to let them know before because then they can walk in during the call.
Yeah. No, that's great. And that's we know our family, we know, so whatever it is that's gonna take that's gonna be most successful for whether that's telling every single time or having like a one sit down conversation, couple reminders, whatever that looks like, then that's what you need to do. So I think you're doing the right thing, Sal, and that's why that's why you're closing the deal smart, right? And even with this is the cool part. So I mean, most of you heard the story. I mean, I shared with Sal, but like we had one deal we almost got under contract, but that it blew up, which happens. And then you were calling for like a month and like nothing, right? So you were kind of discouraged to continue calling. Is that right?
Yes, nobody was answering. I would leave messages, but they wouldn't see them.
Is it because you're leaving? They wouldn't see the messages, or like because it had like it showed like it would have the red, or what do you mean they wouldn't see them? Or
Yeah, it would just say delivered, but they wouldn't open them. I'm not sure if they
okay,
saw them though, but
got it. Are you using your own phone number or using like Google Voice number?
no, my phone number.
Okay, you're right. You're okay.
So
Because
it's not yeah, it's not the same area code though.
okay, got it. Yeah, yeah. So you have a that's right. Isn't it like California number or something like that? I forget.
Yes.
Different area code. You might want to look into getting like this is a side note, but even like a third number, their Google Voice number. I know like Aubrey was saying that people were not getting the messages that they were receiving, or there was some of that stuff going on. But
Mhm.
there's other services too out there you probably can use, but you can always get another number that has the 808 number, 801 number if you're or
Mhm.
local number if you're calling here in Utah,
Yeah.
right? But so you were a little bit discouraged, but what made you make that call? Like what even though you didn't feel like it, what made you that you were doing it? Is it because it was sacred time or what was it?
So I did so I wasn't gonna make those calls because there was too much noise around the house, so I went inside the car and then I saw the list and so it was like only like 5 people remaining.
Mm-hmm.
So I said I'm just gonna make these last calls just and then just go back and then that was the and those one of those 5 people was the person that was interested in selling. But I wasn't gonna make that call today.
Well, and think about it when so you had a list ready to go. So you were prep, even though it was the last part of only five numbers to call, but you had something there to make it easier for you to call. If you didn't have that list out and ready, you probably wouldn't have made any phone calls that day, I imagine.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
So those are the things. This is like a perfect example of like, what can I do to set my future self up to be successful? If it's 5 o'clock and or if it's 4 o'clock, my stagger time starts at 5. What do I need to make sure that Jared that does stagger time is going to be successful? So what I need, maybe I need to pull my list now. Maybe I need to clean my desk. Maybe I do all of those things. I can tell my household people that, hey, I'm making phone calls. Don't jump in because you're gonna jump. You're gonna yell. You're gonna call for me when I'm in the middle of a work phone call, whatever that is. So that is like almost a perfect example of like setting things up, whether that was intentional or not, right? Because it's kind of the last bit of your list, getting things prepared for you so that you are more successful, right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Angela asked, what list are you using? How are you finding the phone numbers? So
Mhm.
what list did you use to make that phone call?
It's the default list.
The notice to default. Okay.
Yes. And the way I'm finding the phone numbers is I'm using, I don't have it right here with me, but I believe it's cybersecurity. So you just put in the name of the person, and then the list brings the name of the person and the city they're in, and then you just put it there, and then it shows up their numbers.
So is it like the cybersecurity? Is it you have to do individual? Can you just like import a Excel?
Let me see if I can find it. One second.
It's almost sounds like very similar to Family Tree now.
Mm. So yeah, and it's free. It's totally free. But give me 2 minutes, and I can write it down.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I'm curious to see to find out what that is too, right? But yeah, notice the default is like the list that you're using, like there's it all works, nothing if it all works, but what's the phrase? It all works, but nothing does. The method of finding your deal or the list you're calling on, I mean, that does, I mean, you can have better lists than not for sure, but that's not that big of a thing because the way that we're, especially how I teach you guys how to do the cold calls, which we're going to go in depth, especially next week, is even if it's like how to buy houses on wrong numbers, and I've bought multiple properties on wrong numbers, so it's always so even any list you're going to get something. Everything works, nothing does. Nothing doesn't. There we go. Thank you. Um,
You muted yourself.
oh, sorry. I was speaking of sacred time. My daughter had a question, so I had to remind her this is Dad's sacred time. You can't be jumping in there. So, and that'll happen too sometimes, right? You gotta have friendly reminders to your family members, especially the kiddos or the spouse, right? So phenomenal. What now? Does can anyone tell me what time? What can they do in the sacred time? Who's willing to come out? There's only there's a small handful of us. So like, what's going to be your sacred time? And if you need help figuring that out, cyberbackgroundchecks.com is what he was using. Okay, I'm gonna check that out too. But let's I'll start calling you guys out. So Boston, when would be your sacred time to work on the real estate stuff, do you think? Or do you need to actually kind of dive deeper into your schedule to figure that out
I
still?
mean, I kind of got an idea. Well, first off, I was going to ask, are these calls usually about an hour? I mean,
Yes.
that's okay.
Yeah, we're about out. Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm actually in Arizona, so it's only 11 for me right now.
Hmm.
But so it's gonna be between probably here and 4-ish. But I gotta dial in what time, obviously. So I might just end up doing it right after these calls since I'm already doing it. Might as well I'm
Yeah.
already sat down. So I might end up
That's
doing that. I do window washing. So in the mornings we always clean and then at night and like stuff we knock and stuff. So that's why I have to like that 4 hour window. So I'll
yeah.
probably just end up doing it at 11 until about 12 probably every day.
I love that. Yeah. And that what you mentioned there is a huge thing. So there's something called habit stacking. when we're trying to do something new, if we already have something that we're doing, so like the phone calls, you get reminders, or like, so we're from, in your time, 11 to or 10 to 11, you're here anyways. So it's just like, well, when I do this, then I'm gonna do that. Like there's I think in Atomic Habits he talks about, like, if you're looking to get more fit and you have zero time to do it, like, what can I do? Like, well, maybe I can do push-ups in the morning, something like that. It's like, when I brush my teeth, I'm gonna do 10 push-ups. So it's 10 push-ups take like zero time, 10 seconds to do, but over time that's going to add up, right? So, but like every time I brush my teeth, like, oh yeah, I did this. Brushing my teeth is a regular, normal, everyday habit, right? So I brush my teeth, like, okay, now I'm going to sit down and do a couple push-ups, and in the evening I'm going to do like some sit-ups or whatever. And that's this, push-ups and sit-ups. That's just something, right? It's just connecting a new habit with an already established habit. And being on these calls are kind of a new habit too, but it's something that you get reminders. There's accountability, so you're more likely to do it. So I really like that you're gonna, yeah, after this call, it's gonna start it. I'm just gonna stay here and sitting down. I'm just gonna start doing the MMA. So I love that. Phenomenal, man. All right, what about so Angela? Are you in a place where you can come off mute or even put in the chat? What do you have a sacred time that you're thinking of?
Yeah, my family just walked out the door, so I now
Nice.
have quiet around me. Yeah, it's kind of evolved now that we've hit summer, so my sacred time doesn't have actual time yet,
Okay.
but it's in the afternoon, and I'm glad I'm like just picking up some more stuff that I need to be more strict on, like you said, have an exact time set, which I do want to have an exact time set. But so many times it's ended up just being whenever I have a minute, I run down and do something.
Right. And getting, because our life it can be chaotic, and it can be hard, but even if it's something as small as like just setting 15 minutes, like you want to have an hour and a half or whatever, right? But even just setting it a small amount of time, you're training yourself to show up every single day and being consistent. So when do you think you can come up with a Pacific time every single day, or maybe it's just like, or at least Pacific time during the week, that you're going to be doing the MMAs, if that's the case? Because I get it, like summertime, there's parents, like that changes a lot. So yeah.
That's a good question, and I'm not sure how to figure that out.
Okay. Can you put a little homework assignment to sit down, maybe even with your spouse, with a Will, and just like, hey, what this is my sacred time, or I need you to help me with the kids during this time, or vice versa, or whatever. And then tomorrow, kind of give us like, this is my sacred time. Is that long enough? That's an easy enough homework assignment, I assume?
Yeah, I think so. And so like right now, my husband is taking half days off. So every single day, he has half a day.
Okay, nice.
That we're both working on it. Like, hey, what are you doing? What are you, we're both working on it.
Love it.
So I feel like right now we're doing a lot of time, like as much time as we can possibly push at it.
That's great. And even if you're like doing it like a couple hours a day already, and it's not, is whatever it takes for you to do the MMAs, then that's what you need to do. So if it's not needed, but if you can honestly say you're doing as much as you possibly could to reach those goals, if you can honestly say that, then yeah, then maybe you don't necessarily have to put in the sacred time. But if it's like, yeah, I'm doing it, but I think I can do more or be more consistent at it, or whatever that is, right? That's kind of where the sacred time would fall into place, right? So yeah, talk to you guys, figure out whatever that's going to be. And again, like maybe you're doing 3 or 4 hours a day, right? But you have like locked in minimum of an hour and a half or 2 hours or an hour or something like that. Like, sure, you do it for 4 hours a day, but at very least, even on busy days, I'm doing it during that 1 hour. Like that's like their minimum. There's minimum standards, and then there's blitz. But yeah, we're a little bit over, but yeah. So everyone that's go ahead.
Minimum.
Yeah, right. I think that's a good thing. So just figure that out, whatever that looks like, and then let's talk about it tomorrow, and put it in your post what your sacred time is. So for everyone that's here, figure out your sacred time, and then put it in create a post in school, and to say this is what I'm going to do it. So for Boston's like at 11 my time, 11 to noon, that's what I'm going to be doing my sacred time. Whatever that looks like. So perfect. Okay, we're a little bit over, but yeah, awesome guys. Well, I appreciate you all, and let's get to it. Let's get those MMAs done, and I'm excited. It's good stuff. Okay.
Thanks, Jared.
Yeah. All right. See you guys.